Today I fucked up by trying to eat like Winston from 1984. So, I've always been a fan of the book 1984. It was the first, grown-up, book I read as a child and I find its concepts, world and messages very fascinating. For some reason, I'd always had an odd fixation with the way the food is described in the world, particularly what Winston ate in his regulation lunch. I guess it was probably because child me grew up in a pretty rich country, and so to have someone describe such horseshit food as the only thing he eats was nigh incomprehensible to me. So today, I was rereading it and on a whim I decided, hey, I'm a grown adult who can cook, I'll try to make it. For those unaware, a regulation lunch is described as a bowl of pinkish-gray stew, a small piece of bread, a nugget of cheese, and a cup of Victory coffee served without milk but with one saccharin tablet, and gin on the side. No biggie. I made a simple cream pork stew and added a tiny bit of food coloring, got some bread and cheese, made a cup of coffee without milk and got a sugar cube for the saccharin tablet. But what about the gin? I'm usually not a drinker, remember this, so I went down to the store and bought myself a bottle. Thus, I was set, and ready to eat like I was a slave to Big Brother. For the sake of authenticity, I poured myself a cup of gin, and gulped it down like Winston did. Big mistake. I, a person who usually only drank fizzy apple cider once a month for social purposes, had just swallowed an entire cup of 40% alcohol. I vomited immediately, all over my lunch, and accidentally slipped or something which sent the vomit to the floor as well. This left me, rather than having a normal lunch, having to clean up my mess, hungry and nauseous. Too long did not read. Don't roleplay as a slave or you'll actually end up cleaning like one. This gave me a good laugh. Hopefully lunch tomorrow goes better. Poured myself a cup of gin. A what? No. No. It takes a special amount of drinking practice to get to the point you can chug a cup of gin and stay upright. And by that I mean alcoholism. Citizen, you have been found unpatriotic and are required to submit yourself to the ministry of love. This is so wholesome. I love 1984 but never once considered eating the food described. Reminds me of how as a child I mimicked the mick of a novel licking honey drizzled on a book cover. It wasn't the best idea ever. Going by the Ingsoc standards for other products, I would imagine that Victory Gin is probably only about 30 proof. That's 15% alcohol. Today I fucked up allowing a dog to sniff my pockets. Random throwaway. No reason to link this fuck up to my original account. This morning I, 28 male, got up earlier than usual to meet a girl at the beach. The girl was someone I went on a date with yesterday. Towards the end of the date we agreed to see each other again. When I mentioned that I was a morning person during that date, and she said she was too, I had no idea she meant at the crack of dawn kind of morning person. But that being said, when an attractive girl suggests meeting up again, even if it's to go for an early morning run, so be it. When I showed up the beach, she was there, but she was not alone. Her hellhound was with her. She didn't mention anything about bringing an intimidating dog, but I didn't show my surprise or my growing fear. I was still like, who's a good boy, and all that shit. The dog seemed friendly enough, which made me feel less uncomfortable. The three of us ran a good distance before we decided to stop and catch our breath. I had to sit the fuck down or else I was gonna collapse. As soon as I sat on the sand, the dog was all over me, licking and sniffing everywhere. My date thought it was adorable and made sure she was filming my interaction with the dog on her phone. Not gonna lie, I would have gently pushed the dog away if it wasn't for her reaction because I just wanted some breathing room at that moment. But there I was, allowing the dog to have his way with me so that I could score more brownie points. It was all fun and games until the dog sniffed the inside of my pocket and took off running with my inhaler. My gut reaction was to chase the dog, which I did without considering how hard I was breathing to begin with. My date was shouting in the background, telling me to stop running. I ignored her. I was too focused on getting my inhaler back. The dog was not listening to anyone either. He was too busy having fun at my expense. Every time I got close enough, he would freeze with his head real low to the ground and his ass in the air before running off again. The full extent of my fuck-up sunk in when I realized I was actually getting an asthma attack. I was forced to stop running. It got so bad, I was on my knees and frantically pulling the collar of my shirt as if it was strangling me. I could see the dog in the distance, digging a hole in the sand and burying my inhaler. At that point I was too woozy to stand on my feet let alone walk. My date managed to catch up to the dog and dig up my inhaler, which I struggled to use at first because it was covered in wet sand. Thankfully my date was quick to run to the sea, dip my inhaler in the water and get it to work properly. She saved my life. I'm at home now. It's no longer morning on my side of the world. I decided not to go to work. I wish I could tell all of you that I'm not alone because my date is here with me, but she called me about an hour ago to check in and to tell me that she was not interested in getting to know me on a deeper level. She said her ex was asthmatic and he used to experience bad asthma attacks when they were together, especially during sex. She said what happened to me this morning triggered those memories and she didn't want to go through that again. In other words, the hellhound won. He kept the girl. TL. Doctor allowed my date's dog to sniff my pockets and run away with my inhaler. I chased him and experienced an asthma attack that could have killed me if it wasn't for my date coming to my rescue. She should have warned you about the dog before the date, but you should have listened when she told you to stop chasing it. Chasing a dog with a toy is just a game to them and will make them run further. Bit of advice. Most dogs will get very interested if you sit or lay on the ground around them. Better luck next time, I guess. When you chase an animal that's playing, it will assume you're playing with it. I'm so sorry, and I hope you are feeling much better. Fuck her anyways. Her dog tries to kill you, then instead of talking things over she just ends it because her ex couldn't handle sex. Despite you having to run after a dog on sand, which I might add is harder to do than running after a dog on almost literally anything else, meaning you sir probably are in better shape than her ex. Good riddance. Also, not telling someone you're bringing a dog to a date is kinda shitty. You don't know that dog and that dog doesn't know you. Why stress out both or potentially have something terrible happen?